Since we're sort of introducing ourselves to our viewing audience, why don't you just go through real quick and run through what were your five best and worst movies of 2012? I think we'll start with what your five best were, and we'll start with AC. What did you think?
So we're gonna start with Mark.
You want to start with me?
Yeah, I just want to start with you.
All right, my five best movies of 2012. Well, big ups go to Argo. I was very impressed by this movie. I thought it was amazing that that dude from a couple of the Kevin Smith movies was able to write and star in this thing. It was it was very well done. I honestly was a bit surprised. I was on the road touring, doing some comedy. Me and the other comic that were on the road wanted to go see a movie. He wanted to see Skyfall. I had no interest because this James Bond sucks, so I went and saw Argo alone because I'm sad and lonely. But it was actually a great movie. I was really impressed by it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it won a couple of Oscars. Also, a huge fan of The Avengers. Always have been, always will be. I think the movie was fantastic. Joss Whedon did an amazing job. I wrote an article for FloridaGeekScene.com about why The Avengers and the way it was shot and the way it was written is a really good sign of what we can see coming forward from comic book movies. Lincoln, I mean, come on, biopic of the year, without question.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
You can't lose.
He was in that movie, yeah.
Spielberg, Daniel Day-Lewis,
Both
best
of them were
combination
involved,
for an
absolutely.
Oscar.
Yeah, no, it's I expect that to continue its awards run. This was a bit of a surprise for me, but Seven Psychopaths. I actually really like
It's
that.
on my list.
It's on your list too.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh, Seven Psychopaths. Well, I'll let
man.
you go a little bit more into detail, but no, I really enjoyed that film. It wasn't what I was expecting when I walked in, but I was glad with the end product. I thought it was really
Since
good.
we're talking about the film, I mean, it was portrayed as a comedy when I saw the trailer. I've seen it, and I was like, okay, it's got wonderful actors. You got Tom Waits, you got Christopher Walken, you have Colin Farrell, you got what's his name? Oh, boy, I can't forget his name now. We see his ass in every movie. Sam Rockwell.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. I mean, I was expecting a comedy. And I'm watching this and watching it evolve, and I'm like, am I reading this wrong? Or
It wasn't a comedy, but I definitely laughed a lot.
It was a dark
mostly at
film.
inappropriate points.
Yes.
But that's
But the film actually, to me, I actually forget all your Oscar nominations. Next to Silver Linings Playbook, Seven Psychopaths was my favorite movie the whole entire year.
really.
Oh my God. I'm talking about 3/4 of the way in the movie. I literally paused the movie, put down my popcorn in my living room, and I was like, this movie is effing amazing.
Well, I'm glad you were able to do that. Some of us saw it in theaters. And my final pick for top five movie in 2012 was, come on, Django Unchained.
Jamie
Oh.
Foxx's balls.
Awesome.
And
awesome
Jamie Foxx's
movie.
balls.
You took something different from the movie than I did. But the acting was phenomenal. Christoph Waltz, you're my boy.
Best supporting actor this year?
Agreed. Well, maybe not. We'll
Really?
see. We'll
Who
see
do you
when we
think-
get
who do
there.
you think it could
We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that in a
All
minute.
right.
Calm down,
All right.
baby. All right. But honestly, Django was a great year ender for me. I thought it was fantastic, and I'd love to see a couple of Oscars go their way. How about you, Brandon?
Well, for me, I'm more of a sci-fi person, so you can kind of pick out any way you choose. I'm gonna go by these by release date. First one I think for top five came out on February 3rd. Chronicle, the found footage superhero film. I felt like because this didn't even make my top 10 list, but prior to the film's release, I just felt like the character development and the action and just the way it was portrayed, it was just amazing. It was like unlike anything I've seen. I come out of the theater just going, wow. It was one of the best. It was definitely the best film of 2012 at that time period. Nothing else could top it. Second one, of course, you could call me what you want, but it has to be Hunger Games. The Hunger Games.
I'll call you what you want.
I have a
read
few
the-
ideas of what to call you. Yeah.
The Hunger Games. The reason I love like the Hunger Games, I actually never heard of it like when the promotion started coming out in August. Then when I went ahead and when I saw the trailer in November, I went on and read the book, one of the best books I ever read. And when I finally saw the film, it was a perfect complement to the novel. It had substance, great actors. I mean, from Woody Harrelson, Donald Sutherland. I mean, I'm still tripping. How do you get Donald Sutherland and Woody Harrelson, legendary actors, to play these great characters, and they played them well? Jennifer Lawrence, as we know, did a really good job as Katniss. and it was just a great movie overall. And with Catching Fire coming out later this year, I'm sure they're gonna do whatever they can to make it even better. Everything that was kind of bad in the Hunger Games will be fixed, and everything that was good, they're going to build on it. So I think the Hunger Games franchise is on the right path as of right now.
Great 20-minute review. Make sure to keep that same review for our next webisode. We watch books.
We watch
but what other movies did you see?
Yeah, I'll keep these ones short. Avengers was another one. I think we all unanimously agree that was probably the best superhero movie of 2012. Great writing, insane action, and it was just a doggone good time. I mean, that's probably the most fun I've had watching a movie.
Yes.
The next one, Dark Knight Rises. I think a lot of people may disagree that maybe Dark Knight Rises was kind of, the bottom of the barrel as far as the Batman trilogy. But I think probably because of that was because The Dark Knight was such an amazing film. It set the bar a little bit too high for that one. So, with that being said, the action was great, and I think it was just a great conclusion to a really good trilogy that could put itself in the same category as, I believe, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and everything else. And the last one is this one's nominated for Best Animated Film, Wreck-It Ralph. It was one of the best animated films of the year. I think that nothing else can touch it this year, because it was hilarious, but at the same time it had heart and substance, and that's something I was almost on the brink of tears. So I think it was a great movie, and I don't really see it not getting an Oscar this year.
Well, I'm glad to see little kid movies make you cry. AC, what about your best films of the year?
Actually, I'm going to go on a different path on this one. I agree with Seven Psychopaths. I totally agree with Dark Knight Rises. Definitely agree with Dark Knight Rises. You guys kind of forgot John Carter. A $300 million Disney production.
Us and everyone else in the world forgot John Carter. Yeah,
No,
that's pretty much how that worked.
John Carter was actually really good.
Excellent.
And that's what all 5 people who saw it said. So,
Well,
I mean, you
the
have to
problem
take
is
their
that
word for
The
it.
movie came out 20 years too late. Star Wars and a lot of great sci-fi movies actually took from John Carter. You'll see all the pieces of John Carter. It's a great book if you ever read the book back in the day. It's a great graphic novel also. But when John Carter had great substance, I just feel like they waited way too long to make the movie. Disney waited too long. They promoted it wrong. The name John Carter does not make people want to go see a sci-fi film. If you would have said what his original name was,
John Carter of Mars.
John Carter of Mars, or Princess of Mars. And when I was reading The Dark Horizons, I kept reading John Carter of Mars. Like, hell yeah, I'll go see this. So when the film came out called John Carter, people are going to see the marquee and see John Carter. People are going to see a poster and see John Carter. They don't see sci-fi. John Carter of Mars would have sold you with a better name. I think it was really bad promotion on Disney's behalf. That's why their $300 million movie flopped. It was an excellent movie. I also go with The Raid Redemption. It's a foreign film, Korean film. I believe The Raid was awesome. I give best cinematography all year. It's the same story as Dredd, even though it came out before Dredd. It's about a rookie cop who basically has to fight his way to the top of this building to get to the drug lord. Good twists in the movie, but awesome cinematography. Brutal action, if you like kung fu action with not so campy kung fu. Realistic fight scenes, they're really hitting each other. But the cinematography is what grabs me. I'm watching this scene, and the camera operator, Steadicam operator, flips in between the guys, comes back, moves back and forth all in one shot. And it's very ambitious for a director, it's very ambitious for a crew, it's very hard to do as a cinematographer shooting something like that. So
Especially when you're a 4-foot-tall Korean.
Exactly. And I mean, EX2, I won't say it's one of the great movies, but it was fun to watch the legends before they may pass or whatever happens in their old age. But it's just fun to see your
for the people viewing at home, he said EX2, he meant Expendables 2.
Yes.
For those of you who aren't
Expendables
gigantic,
2.
nerdy, dorky geeks like us three,
Exactly.
apparently, who thought the best movies of the year were all sci-fi, fantasy, and comic book based.
And action, Chuck Norris, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Dolph Lundgren, Jet Li, Jason Statham. How many more heroes can come on screen, for crying out loud?
John McCain.
Yeah,
John McCain?
I don't
I think
know.
you mean John McClane, who's Bruce Willis. John
just came on
McCain,
Die Hard this
who was a
week.
senator and did fight in the Vietnam War. I'm not sure that's the kind of action star they were looking for, but good addition. Thanks for adding, Brandon. All right. So that was the 5-year list, right?
Yeah, that was a 5. I get the last one I gotta say. Obviously, we said Silver Linings Playbook, and I would love to top it. You guys forgot The Hobbit. The Avengers, we all know hands down. The Avengers, enough said. What Brandon said about fun movie. We go to movies to escape reality, and we also go to have fun. And that was a fun movie, a great ensemble of characters, and that's the way people frown at video game adaptations, superhero adaptations, because they used to be terrible. Avengers set the mark of that's how you make a movie. That's how you entertain all audiences from old to young.
Fair enough. Well, that was AC's top 9 movies for 2012.